Grenade! Move in.
Dave Bautista has a new movie out again. This time, he abandons his usual muscular tough guy image and becomes a DEA agent tasked with cracking down on drug traffickers. But who would have thought that his son would team up with the children of other agents to commit robberies? What on earth is going on here? The man driving is named Hill, and he's a drug enforcement agent. In order to raid a drug trafficker's den, he and his colleagues specially put on floral shirts. After parking the car at the gas station, Hill asked the staff to refuel the vehicle. The other person said that the gasoline was sold out, and told him to check elsewhere, but Hill insisted on using the bathroom, refusing to leave without getting into the gas station to relieve himself. Unexpectedly, the other person pulled out a gun and threatened, "Get out of here if you want to live," completely unaware that a gun was pointed at him. After Hill and his colleague cooperated to take down one person, they immediately signaled the other agents in the car to take action. At the same time, Hill's son Cody was showing off his driving skills. After playing around for a while, he went to chat with his friends. All of these children's parents were drug enforcement agents. Every time their parents went on a mission, they gathered together to pray devoutly, hoping their parents would come back safely. By this time, Hill had already put on his gear. Then an agent threw a grenade into the house. After a loud explosion, everyone immediately rushed in to take down the drug traffickers. The thugs outside were cleared out, and according to the intelligence got in advance, they opened the hidden underground entrance in the warehouse and climbed down the ladder. They found that the space below was quite large. After walking for a long time, they finally met with the drug traffickers. They quickly pulled the trigger to kill the enemies, but just then, one of the drug traffickers pressed the bomb detonator. Hill and the others were terrified and rushed out in a panic. As the explosion shockwave was about to catch up, they scrambled and rolled to escape by the skin of their teeth. After all rushing outside, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Someone even joked that the experience just now was really thrilling. Unexpectedly, the drug traffickers' reinforcements arrived. The agents were caught off guard, but they quickly regrouped and started a counterattack. After repelling the enemy, they administered first aid to the shot agent, but it was already too late. Cody and the others were in class. Suddenly, the teacher solemnly called the student Jesse out. When Jesse got into the office, he saw his mother. She was already in tears. She told Jesse that his father had sacrificed himself. A few minutes later, the other children also received the news. Everyone was too sad to speak. In the evening, to comfort Jesse, the children all came to the church. They hugged Jesse and encouraged him to cheer up. They stayed until very late before going home. Little did they know that Hill was already frantic with worry. When he saw his son come back, he asked why he hadn't replied to messages or answered calls. Cody was about to explain. When he saw blood oozing from his father's neck, Hill noticed his son's concern. He quickly said that the bullet had only grazed the surface of his skin. He also emphasized that it wasn't safe recently, and the drug traffickers might take the opportunity to retaliate. He had talked to the other parents. They agreed that all children must go home immediately after school. Cody didn't quite agree, thinking that Jesse needed his friend's comfort the most right now. On the other side, the drug lord Baker gathered everyone together. He angrily said that there was a mole among them. This mole had contacted the DEA, causing one of their dens to be destroyed. Months of hard work had all gone to waste. Now everyone was a suspect except the one who had killed an agent. In fact, Baker could only guess who the mole was based on his feelings. He was really furious, so he ordered one of his lackeys to kill his own cousin, saying he wanted to see if he was cold-blooded and ruthless enough. The lackey passed the test temporarily, but he was actually the mole. The next night, he drove to a restaurant, entered it, and pretended to make a call. He told Hill, who was dining nearby, that Baker had already suspected something was wrong with him.
If he knew it was you, you wouldn't be here.
But the lackey always felt that continuing to be a mole was too risky. Hill didn't make things difficult for him, and asked if he had any news about the new den. The other person gave a negative answer, saying he only had one useful clue now, that is, Baker had a sister named Leah. This person was definitely not simple either, because everything about her was kept strictly confidential. It's reasonable to suspect that her hands were even dirtier. With that, the lackey left first. Cody and the others gathered again after class, mainly because Jesse wanted to announce something. He said he would move and transfer schools soon, and he was going to move to another country, to live with his grandparents, because the pension provided by the DEA was very small. His sick mother couldn't earn much money either. She couldn't afford to continue renting the house here, or buy medicine at all. Everyone felt deeply distressed when they heard this. Cody also felt upset. After school, he told his father about it. His father said he had heard about it too. He would find time to visit Jesse before he left. Cody asked if the DA couldn't help the poor mother and son. Hadn't they seized a lot of cash during the raid mission? Hill replied that all that money belonged to the government. It would be used to buy information and pursue drug traffickers in the future. He knew that Jesse's family was in trouble, so he was also trying to launch a crowdfunding campaign. Everyone would definitely help as much as possible. Cody was very helpless and asked his father if he also sacrificed himself. Would he, who had lost his support, only be able to survive on crowdfunding? Although this statement was very unpleasant, it made sense. In the evening, Hill drank alone with his colleagues, and said he wasn't a competent father. He really felt that he owed Cody a lot, and now the most troublesome problem for him was that Cody planned to take over his job. This job was really too dangerous. Moreover, Cody was very aggressive and adventurous in doing things. He firmly couldn't let Cody do this job, but on second thought, he felt that he was very cruel. The next day, Hill was helping students train at the wrestling gym. Someone asked him why he didn't let Cody participate. Cody's eyes lit up when he heard this, but Hill said it wasn't the right time yet. He only brought him here for a visit today. On the way home, Hill found that his son had been depressed. He knew that Cody wanted to become stronger. Before he could say anything, a colleague suddenly called, saying they had taken down a new drug den. They were now busy seizing the items inside. They told Hill just to let him not worry. If he had time, he could come over to check for clues. After hanging up the phone, Hill asked his son if he wanted to go with him. Of course, he wanted to go. Soon, the father and son arrived at the drug den. Hill asked his colleague how they found this place. The other person said it was quite absurd. Someone found a sleeping drug addict on the road, so they immediately called the police. The police followed the drug addict and found the den. As he spoke, the colleague went to talk to Hill elsewhere. Meanwhile, Cody's eyes were fixed on the stacks of cash. A bold idea suddenly popped into his mind. After going back to the DA with his father, he secretly took photos of the clues listed on the wall, while no one was watching. Then he went to his friends with his idea. He proposed robbing the drug gang for their money. They could buy a house for Jesse to live in. Naturally, they wouldn't have to worry about tuition fees, medical expenses, or anything else. His friends were shocked, thinking Cody must be crazy, but he said they didn't need to rob a big den. They just needed to target one with few guards. Besides, everyone had their own strengths. If they really did it, it shouldn't be too difficult. He was good at driving and could be the driver. Linda knew martial arts. Her mother also had the key to the armory. The others had also learned skills from their parents. At this point, Laura asked, what if they went through all this trouble, but didn't get any cash? Only bags of drugs. Besides, if they wanted to send money to Jesse, they would definitely need to open multiple accounts and deposit small amounts each time, to ensure it was below the IRS reporting threshold.
Your dad worked money laundering, right?
Cody thought their team was invincible. Linda still thought it was too risky. Jason, who hadn't been able to get a word in, was very excited. He said he was looking forward to the upcoming operation. There was no other way. Everyone else had to join in. At the same time, Hill met with the mole. This time, it wasn't to get information. Instead, the DEA had paved the way for the mole. They were going to help him escape the drug gang and start a new life. But before they could hand over his new identity, a colleague not far away reported that a car had arrived outside. The scene immediately descended into chaos. Hill seized the chance to rush out and fight back. The drug trafficker was so focused on him that he crashed into a truck ahead and couldn't move. He was helpless and had to get out and run. In the end, Hill caught up and pinned him to the ground, subduing him completely. Their informant had finally managed to get a chance at a new life, but now he was killed. Hill really wanted to beat the drug trafficker to death, but he held back in the end. After bringing him back to the DEA, the drug trafficker glanced at the bullet graze on his neck. He sneered sarcastically, saying he was really lucky to be alive. Hill knew this guy was the one who killed the agent, but he couldn't take revenge. He suppressed his anger and asked about Leah. The drug trafficker didn't even look at him properly. Hill's colleague, but wasn't in a hurry. He said many drug traffickers refused to talk because they were worried about their family's safety.
You don't have any family. You were recruited out of the orphanage. You got options.
Afraid that the drug trafficker would respond better to coercion than persuasion, Hill said he would secretly spread rumors, framing the drug trafficker as a mole, making him unwelcome in both the criminal underworld and the legitimate world. The drug trafficker was indeed scared and confessed that Leah had been called by Baker to uncover the agents' real identities. Then they would kill the agents and their families one by one. On the other side, Linda successfully stole the key and selected equipment from the armory with Cody. They were busy when Cody suddenly received a call from his father. His father said he had to work overtime tonight, and told him not to wander around. This was exactly what Cody wanted. After grabbing the necessary weapons, they found one of the drug traffickers' dens. Through analysis, not wanting to be detected, they all carried silenced weapons. After preparing themselves mentally, Jason was in charge of keeping watch outside. Meanwhile, Cody and the other two, fully armed, prepared to take action. Putting on night vision goggles, they got into the house cautiously. Spotting the drug trafficker, Cody quickly started a surprise attack, but he missed. The startled drug trafficker rushed at them immediately. Luckily, the three of them worked together and successfully stunned him with a taser. Then they quickly started packing the money. Unexpectedly, another drug trafficker appeared and started shooting randomly at them. Jason outside was terrified when he heard the gunshots. He kept hesitating whether to call the police for help. After all, going to jail was better than losing his life. But luckily, Linda was really skilled. She cooperated with Cody and Laura to successfully take down the drug trafficker. Then the group got into the car unharmed and stepped on the gas, escaping the scene quickly. After arriving at their secret base, Laura reported their haul for the night. She said they had stolen a total of $497. Everyone laughed like crazy when they heard the amount, not to mention buying a house. This money wasn't even enough to buy wallpaper. Meanwhile, Baker had a call with his sister regarding the robbery of one of their dens. Baker thought it wasn't worth worrying about. After all, there wasn't much money there at all. But Leah thought this matter shouldn't be brushed off lightly. It was one thing for the agents to take down the gas station den, but how come even thieves were targeting them now? The problem was that there was actually a night vision helmet at the scene. This was military-grade equipment. How could an ordinary thief have something like this? Baker thought it was the DEA, upset about the agent and informant being killed, deliberately messing with them in this way. The next day, he'll rush to the crime scene. He was told that the two drug traffickers weren't dead initially. They were presumably punished by Baker for failing to do their jobs, so this incident was probably just a regular robbery. At the same time, Cody asked a female classmate out for dinner. The two talked about their parents. The female classmate lived with her mother, while her scumbag father never showed up. Because he didn't want to take responsibility, she envied Cody for having an overprotective father. As she spoke, she asked what he did for a living. Cody replied that he was a project manager in construction engineering. After the date, Cody met up with his friends. They all video called Jesse to check on him. They found that his situation was quite bad. Jesse's mother couldn't find a job. The place they were living in was also excessively noisy, so the next robbery couldn't wait any longer. But this time, they had learned their lesson. They weren't going to foolishly rob a den with no money anymore. Instead, they planned to target where Baker laundered money. He found out that the person in charge of the money laundering operation was an elderly man. After collecting cash from the drug traffickers, he took almost the same route every time. They could take the opportunity to steal all the money. If the amount reached $500,000, they wouldn't need to act again. But this time, they had to work out a solid plan before taking action. First, they needed to learn from their parents and conduct surveillance, confirming that there were two bodyguards accompanying him. The group knew they couldn't use tasers this time. After all, those were only suitable for close combat. But since they didn't want to kill anyone, they chose beanbag shotguns. They had enough power but weren't lethal. At this point, Laura raised a question. That is, the DEA also has these clues. Why don't they arrest the elderly man? Linda explained that the DEA prioritizes capturing the mastermind behind the scenes, so they only gather intelligence and don't take action. This means they not only have to carry out the operation, but also guard against being discovered by the DEA. They had gathered enough intelligence. They removed the tracker that the DEA had installed under the elderly man's car, and they had already worked out the action plan. Everything was ready. When the elderly man stopped with the money on a deserted road, Cody and the others immediately threw tear gas. Then they held guns and carried out the robbery. But they almost got killed because the beanbag shotguns malfunctioned. Luckily, everyone stayed calm and fought back quickly in the nick of time. In the end, they successfully defeated the bodyguards and stole the car. After stepping on the gas and speeding away, they quickly checked the cash in the car. They were surprised to find that there was quite a lot, but the bodyguards behind were clinging on relentlessly. Not wanting to be exposed, they put on their masks. Then they opened the rear door and attacked with guns. Jason focused on shooting the windshield. The other person's vision was blocked. After getting rid of the trouble, Cody drove the car to Jason's grandfather's abandoned warehouse. To celebrate the great success of the operation. Everyone excitedly celebrated with the cash. On the other side, the elderly man took the initiative to surrender to the DEA. To be precise, he had lost the money, and was afraid that Baker would kill him. So he resorted to this measure to seek help from the agents. He hoped the DEA would provide him with witness protection. Hill asked what the robbers looked like. The elderly man said the group had used tear gas. He only knew there were 2 men and 2 women, and they didn't seem very professional. A colleague asked if he knew Leah. He said he wasn't sure, but he could provide clues related to the transportation. Late at night, Baker learned that the transportation chain was broken, and a large sum of money had been lost. He was so angry that he kept swearing. He thought it was the DEA again. He ordered his sister to find out the agents' real identities immediately. He would make those people pay a heavy price.
A sus esposas, a sus hijos, a sus mascotas, atrápalos!
Meanwhile, the DEA reviewed the footage of Cody and the others' actions. They were also confused. They couldn't figure out where this group of people had come from out of nowhere. Some guessed it was another drug gang, but since they hadn't heard any rumors, they had to suspect it was done by internal agents. They saw an opportunity and took a chance to make some money. Otherwise, how would the robbers have known to remove the DEA's tracker? But the question was, were they really that cautious? No blood was shed during the whole robbery, and they were really stuck. Hill believed the top priority was to seal off the clues and ensure no more trouble arose. As soon as he finished speaking, an agent reported, saying they had learned the location of another major drug den through wiretapping. The agents immediately took action, but when they arrived, they realized they had fallen into a trap. Although no casualties were caused in this operation, their appearances were exposed. In the evening, Hill proposed setting a curfew for his son. His original intention was to protect Cody, but Cody immediately flew into a rage, asking if he was going to be restricted for the rest of his life. He was already an adult, and didn't need to follow others' orders for everything. After saying that, he walked out of the house, and set fire to the stolen car. Then, as a sign of rebellion, he stole his father's access card. The next day, Jason and the others received a call from Jesse. Jesse said it was incredible. The crowdfunding amount had reached $300,000 in a short period of time, and it was still increasing. He and his mother would be able to move back then. Everyone was sincerely happy for him. They were eager to confess that the money was stolen by them, but in the end, they held back. After hanging up the phone, Cody proposed doing one more big job. He didn't want to continue living under his father's control. He wanted to take the money and live somewhere his father couldn't find him. As he spoke, he told the others to think about their own parents. Their minds were only on their tasks. If something happened to them one day, like Jesse's father, they would be orphans with no one to take care of them. Just then, Linda suddenly started vomiting violently. Everyone was terrified and quickly took her to the hospital. When Linda's parents hurried over, Cody quietly left the ward. He told his father that Linda only had a mild concussion, because she had accidentally fallen down the stairs the previous week. There had been no symptoms before, but unexpectedly, she felt unwell today. Hill thought back to the surveillance footage he had seen. During the robbery of the elderly man, one of the female robbers had been hit in the head. Coupled with the suspicious amount of crowdfunding money, he couldn't help but feel something was wrong. But he didn't say much. In the evening, after the adults had left, Cody talked to Linda. She persuaded him not to be so focused on running away from home. Everyone could see that the reason Hill was so strict with him was that he was afraid of losing his only remaining family member. It was out of love, not because he thought Cody was a child who would never grow up. But Cody didn't listen. On the other side, Hill pulled up the video of his son's wrestling matches. He noticed that Cody had a subconscious movement, and surprisingly, one of the robbers had made the same movement. It was too much of a coincidence, but he chose to trust his son. Then Hill went to the DEA for a meeting. He told the agents that the upcoming operation was very important. According to the intelligence provided by the elderly man, Baker's transport truck would stop at a gas station to refuel, then head onto an empty highway. This would be their best chance to act. As soon as Hill finished the meeting, Cody had stolen all the information. The next day after school, he immediately told his friends about it. Laura thought it was too dangerous and didn't want to participate. Only Jason trusted Cody unconditionally, willing to go along with whatever he did. Then the two took a car to the destination in advance, and waited quietly for the truck to arrive. Late at night, the agents were already stationed by the roadside, waiting for the truck to come after refueling. What they didn't know was that the gas station was where Cody had chosen to carry out the robbery. As soon as the truck stopped to refuel, Cody immediately pulled the power switch, then rushed out with Jason. Hill and the others were stunned when they saw the gas station go dark. they quickly sent someone over to check what was happening. At this point, Cody and Jason had already stunned the driver with a taser. They had planned to steal the truck and escape, but unexpectedly, the keys weren't in the vehicle. They had to frantically search the driver's pockets. Just then, an agent shouted, "Freeze!" Then they started a fierce attack towards them. Faced with the fierce gunfire from their parents, Cody and Jason were stunned. Luckily, their parents had taken down many drug traffickers. The two took the opportunity to get in the car with the keys. Cody thought the mask was in the way and took it off. Unluckily, Hill saw him just then. The father was very shocked, and quickly notified the men lying in ambush on the highway to stop the operation. In the end, Cody and Jason escaped successfully. A few seconds later, several police cars arrived at the gas station. His colleague looked confused and asked Hill what was going on. They had been so close to succeeding. Hill didn't explain anything and just kept apologizing. On the other side, Cody drove the truck to the warehouse. When he opened the back of the truck, he found it was full of drugs, nothing like the cash they had imagined. Laura, who had been waiting at the warehouse, shouted that they were doomed. The value of these goods was at least tens of millions of dollars. The drug traffickers would never let them off easily. Cody forced himself to stay calm and told everyone not to panic. The drug traffickers wouldn't be able to find them anytime soon. The first thing they needed to do was not let their parents suspect anything. So after going back home, Cody went to bed as usual at the scheduled time. Little did he know that his father was almost driven to despair. The next day, his colleague reported the situation to Hill. He said that after investigation, all agents with inside information had alibis during the robbery. This meant they were completely innocent. But it couldn't be ruled out that they had leaked the information. The current problem was that they weren't the only ones looking for the robbers. Baker was definitely looking for them too. If Baker found them first, the robbers would be in grave danger. The more Hill listened, the more distressed he became. When he got home in the evening, he had planned to talk to his son about it, but he found that Cody had prepared a hearty dinner. He then remembered that Cody had mentioned inviting his girlfriend Mary and her mother over for dinner that night. Helpless, he had to entertain the guests first. Halfway through the meal, Mary said she needed to use the bathroom. Then she wandered around. Sneakily, when she saw the circular card from the truck in Cody's room, she gave a meaningful look. Then she returned to the dining table as if nothing had happened, and secretly winked at her mother. After dinner, Mary and her mother didn't stay long before leaving, but Hill didn't confront Cody right away. Instead, he asked his son to go fishing with him tomorrow, to talk things over. What Hill didn't know was that the woman in the floral dress was Leah. She and Mary were actually sisters. To recover the goods, the two sisters led their men to the hospital and kidnapped Linda while she was sleeping. Then they called Cody, demanding that he give the truck back and its contents immediately. If he dared to play any tricks, they would only be able to collect Linda's body. Cody panicked instantly and rushed to the location according to the GPS. After he left, drug traffickers broke into the house with guns, intent on killing Hill. Luckily, Hill reacted quickly and killed them first. He immediately warned the others to stay alert. After instructing his colleagues to track Cody's phone, everyone set out fully armed. At the same time, Cody had already met Mary. She confessed that the reason she went to school was to find out which students were the children of DEA agents. Cody felt deep regret when he heard this, resenting that he had been blinded by her beauty. But luckily, he had come prepared. He shouted that there was a homemade bomb in the truck, and if they dared to approach, he would blow up the goods and everyone with them. Baker didn't believe he would actually detonate it, but Cody did. But the fuse he had chosen was faulty. It stopped burning halfway. The drug traffickers quickly closed in on him. In the nick of time, Hill led his team to the rescue. In a way, they had accomplished their mission. A fierce gunfight broke out between the two sides. Cody took the opportunity to rush to save Linda. Thanks to Hill covering him from behind, he was able to escape unharmed amid the hail of bullets. At this point, the drug traffickers were at a disadvantage. Baker stayed behind to cover his two sisters as they escaped. Mary was devastated when she saw this, but she had no choice but to retreat first. Cody grabbed a spray and chased after her. Leah noticed and quickly pulled out her gun, but Hill shot her dead with a single bullet. Mary knew all was lost. She left Linda behind and ran away. Hill didn't chase after her. Instead, he severely beat his son and tied him up.
Listen, they kidnapped you and Danny from the hospital. They beat the shit out of you. They brought you here. You got it?
But his colleague had already guessed the truth. Though he didn't expose it, Cody and the other three celebrated Jesse buying a new house. They chatted and laughed as they got into the house, unaware that Mary was secretly watching from the shadows. Clearly, everything hadn't come to an end. The movie ends here. Bautista doesn't play a muscular tough guy this time. Instead, he plays A frantically restrained father. It's quite refreshing. Moreover, the movie spares no effort in gunfights and explosion scenes. If you don't dwell on the logic, it's a worthwhile action movie. If you like my channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.